Hi, this is Joyce, the voice of Joyce, coming to you once again. Can't believe it. 40 weeks. 40 weeks on YouTube. Next week, I'll introduce you to someone I met in 2012. She's the alchemist. But more about that next week. Right now, let me talk to you about the issues that concern me. I listen to people. I talk to everyone. Anyone who knows me knows that's what I do. I talk and I listen. And I've heard a lot of disturbing thoughts lately about revolution, civil war, too many guns being purchased, too many people overdosing on opioids. And all I can think about is we need peace. Peace for ourselves, peace so that we can listen and learn and respect each other. I learned about good trouble, getting into it, by my dad. There was no question I was a daddy's girl. I really loved being in his company and listening to his stories. And he told me one about World War II when he was in Patton's army. I forgot the name of the concentration camp that he helped liberate. But as a mess sergeant, in quotes, because he really wasn't a sergeant, he took part in the liberation of this concentration camp and saw fellow Jews who were skeletons. My dad started feeding everyone who came up to him. Not a lot, because he was mindful of not overdoing it, since these people had been starved for ages. But he did feed them. And one day his captain came to him and said, "Silver, if you feed any more of these refugees, then I'm going to shoot you." And my father looked at the captain and he said, "Then you might as well shoot me, because I'm not stopping. These are my people." And he never did, and he continued feeding people. And 3 months later, he was still stationed at that same concentration camp. A man came up to him in a suit and a tie and said, "Thank you." My dad did not remember this man, but the man remembered my dad, and he was forever grateful because Papa fed him and gave him a reason to keep living and to have hope. And that's what we all need. We're going through very, very tough times. This is not something that I've ever seen before. I've never heard people speak about revolution. And what we really should be talking about is listening. Listening to each other and everyone's point of view. I know what it's like to grow up with divisiveness. As much as I loved my father and mother, they were not necessarily Papa, but my mom for sure, learned from generations of other women in our family how to divide and conquer. It was absolutely pro forma, or SOP as they say in the military, for her to pit one child against the other. Talk about one child to the other child, never saying anything really good. I remember my grandma doing the exact same thing, telling tales from one child to the next, all 5 of her children. Didn't matter who was good to her, who wasn't. She always told the child she was speaking with that they were the best and the others were rotten. That's how they were brought up. I realized very early on that I was being manipulated, and so was my sister. And I tried to say to her, look, this is her way. This is what she does. But that doesn't mean we have to hate each other. She does it for herself, and she makes each of us love her in our own way. But it doesn't help us as a family at all. And I guess Trump must have been brought up the exact same way. And so were many other people. I didn't recognize this pathology until I was much older, and my best friend pointed it out to me that no, I was brought up in a very cruel manner. Did I know it? No. Did I love them dearly? You bet. But I recognize the truth. And the truth is that when you love your children very, very dearly, you treat them separately and as equals, and you don't tell tales back and forth, and you want them to be a family and be united. I haven't always personally been successful, but I am certainly mindful that that is the right thing to do. And it would be wonderful if everyone could admit that this is what's happening to them. There is so much crisis in our land, so many diseases of despair, all coupled with COVID. And COVID demands discipline of all of us. Discipline that many of us don't have or don't want to even acknowledge, because the very fact that COVID is among us gives us tremendous fear. We don't see it, and most of us feel it only when it's too late. But one thing that has happened, and I'll never forget the saying, which is, from problems and chaos comes opportunity. And we have a tremendous opportunity to use the very brightest among us to experiment with how we will build back better. When I listened to Darren Walker, the head of the Ford Foundation, talking about it, I know there's hope, because in every single industry that I worked for, when I changed cultures, it was because the top echelons of the corporation approved of what I was doing. So it's top down, bottom up. We're not going to destroy capitalism, but we are going to bring it back so that when we say it's capitalism with a heart, It really does have a heart. That's how I conducted my business, with a heart. Everybody had a chance to prove themselves. Everybody made a decent wage. There was health care. And if child care was needed, I'm sure people got it, along with vacations. We need competition again in this country, and we need new businesses to flourish as we build our society with the infrastructure that will support future needs, because there will be other pandemics. Am I confident we can do it? Of course. With the right people, we can do anything. Abraham Lincoln did it. Teddy Roosevelt did it. Eisenhower did it. Lyndon Johnson did it. And FDR is a model of try and see what works. Understand the problems of our society. And somehow we made a country work that had no more cash, that had lent out money to the Allies, and yet it was an era of surviving and thriving. We can get back there, everyone. That's the revolution I'd like to see. No civil war for us, but coming together and understanding each other and building back so much better. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next week, because that virus isn't going to get me, and don't let it get you either. Take care and have a blessed day.